Hello everyone, you are welcome to this session of Python programming during which we'll be writing our very first code in Python. Recall that we've installed Python, we've installed VS Code, which is our IDE that we'll be using for writing code, and we have installed two additional extensions within VS Code to enable us write more interactive codes. So we created a simple file in which we put the content. Let's go back to that file and see how we can start putting content, which is going to be instructions, to our computer. We will highlight how you type in your command, how you execute the command, and some basic elements that you need to watch out for when you are writing Python code. So I'm going back into my VS Code environment. Initially, we created this file. We called it firstcode.py. Py indicating that it's a Python file. For those who have forgotten how we got here, I can select that file and say, I do not need this file again. Maybe I want to trash it. You can go around and say right click and click on delete, and it goes into the recycle bin. But while I'm still within the project folder, I can click on the new file symbol, not the new folder. Rather, you are clicking on the new file, and then it gives you this option of creating the file name. So I'll put firstcode.py, and once you press enter, that file is going to be produced, and it's blinking on line 1 saying give me a command, I am willing to execute it. The basic command that most people often use when producing any kind of program is to type this hello world code. This is the spelling. Yes. So they type this hello world and then they execute it. But while I am writing this, I need to call your attention to a number of things. One, we've written a single line of code which is going to work. We've not executed it yet, but this is the code. And you can see that print comes out in a unique color. Everything here is in lowercase. It is not capital P. If you type capital P in there, it's not going to work like this. If you write this, you can see Python is already telling you, I don't know what this word means. It's not defined in my language. I need you to check that line and fix it. So if you made a mistake while typing, then this is already an indication that something is wrong. And you can see a bulb here say, hey, watch it. There appears to be an error in your code. So I'll change it to small p, which is the correct way to write that function. Now, the next thing I need to call your attention to is the parenthesis that comes after the print. It is a bracket or parenthesis, not a square bracket like this. If you had changed it, maybe you were in a hurry and you mistakenly typed this, you would think this is going to work. I haven't tried this before. Let's check. If I go up here, I want to run my code. Now I can say run code, and then it goes, I don't see anything. Say run the Python file, it goes and it says, hey, there is a problem. Even though the line didn't yell at me as I expected, it gave me an impression that my square bracket was going to work. But I knew deep within me that this is not going to work. And that's why Python came back and said, Ibrahim, on line 1 there is a problem. I am okay with print, but I'm not okay with the square bracket. So there is a problem in this segment. Somewhere around that area there is a problem. You need to fix it. So as an experienced user of Python, you would know that, oh, I am not supposed to use square bracket, rather I should use parenthesis, and I'll change this last one to this. And if I run my code again, everything should work. Yes, it has worked because I can see hello world as my result here. I can clean the screen and then run the code again just for us to see the result. It executes it and it tells me hello world. That is the result that we are expecting. Now, sometimes you may have your hello world written this way with two or double apostrophe. There are times when you may not use double apostrophe and you use a single apostrophe. Your program will still work. If I run this again, I'll still get my result hello world. So Python does not discriminate whether you use double apostrophe or you use single apostrophe, but you need to be consistent with it. Consistency is key because you cannot come in here and say you are using this double apostrophe at the beginning and then you keep single at the end. Python is already screaming at us that, hey, I don't know what's going on here. There is a problem. You can see string literal is not terminated. It opens at the beginning. It is expecting it to be terminated here, and it is not. And that's why that section is underlined in red, indicating that something is wrong there. If you put single apostrophe at the beginning, we expect you to close with a single one. If you try to close with a double one, it also tells you something is wrong here, and you need to just check this part carefully and decide on what you want. So I'll be consistent in my approach. I can use single apostrophe sometimes I'll use double, but I will be consistent with it. So if I switch to a single one and I run my command, my code will still give me hello world. These are the key elements that you need to be comfortable with. We can make this code a little bit more complicated, but let's keep it as it is. How about a scenario where I want to keep this message in a variable? We'll start talking about variable in the next lecture, but just as a way of thinking ahead, it's possible for me to cut this message and then create a variable called message, and I'll put that content in there, and I can now say print message. This is also going to work. What it means is that you created a memory location called storage. You decided to store hello world in it, and then you are showing us what is in that message. Why would anybody want to do this? Remember, in one of our previous lectures, I talked about brevity. We always want to write as few lines as we can to execute our task. This works, but it is not as good as if you had executed everything on a single line. Why use 2 lines when a single line is enough? But there could be business justification for it sometimes, but I'm just letting you know, if you can execute it on a single line without breaking the intelligence of your code, keep it at a single line. Don't try to impress anyone by writing multiple lines. So if I run this is going to work. I can see my hello world there. Now, on top of your mind, you may start asking, is it not possible at some point for us to mix, double apostrophe and a single one? And I'll say yes, it is, and I'll try to give you a very simple implementation of it rather than displaying hello world in this format. Yes, let's say it. I'm Ibrahim Hamid. The moment I go this route, I'll be in trouble. I'll be in trouble because I am bringing in another single apostrophe here, and when Python sees this one, it thinks that it's the closing part of this, so it does not recognize anything after it, and that is why it's wondering, I know everything up to this symbol, but anything outside that I do not know. So how do we fix this? There are a number of ways to solve this problem. The easiest solution is for you to come to the end here and then change that to double, go to the beginning and change it to double, and then you can have something like this in between. If you run this command, you'll be fine. It says, hello world, I'm Ibrahim Hamid. Very simple. That's one approach. Another approach is for you to say, okay, you know what? I am insisting on using a single apostrophe all through and not double at any point. So if you are that adamant, then it means you need to come down here and you add another one to this. So this is like an escape from the one you had in your So when Python sees this, it knows that, oh, two apostrophe are here. I only need to represent it as one and not two. So if I execute this code again, it's still going to work. Hello world, I'm Ibrahim Ahmed. Yeah, now you can see there is a problem. It doesn't know that there is supposed to be a single one here. Let me see if I put this. No, someone else will come in and say, how about if I do this? I can put an escape here. Sure. And then I'll run this. Good. So I put this backslash here and it gives me the correct answer. Hello world, I'm Ibrahim Hamid. That's the way of saying you're consistent with the use of a single apostrophe all through, but you must remember to put this symbol. If you do not want to go this complicated way, I recommend you stay consistent with double apostrophe like this, which allows you to have a single apostrophe within the body of your message, and then you can run your command and get what you need. This is our first program in Python. We have written a single code, or two-line code basically at the end. One is to put our message in a variable called message. This is the text that we're displaying, and we're using print statement to display the content. But I said this is just like a superfluous way of writing the code. The ideal thing would have been for me to remove one line, which is going to be line 1. I really do not need it for this code to work. I can write everything on a single line like this. I will run it and I will see the result here. Hello world, I'm Ibrahim Hamid. This is the way we will be writing code. This is our first code in Python. It's simple enough and everybody should be able to reproduce this on their own computer. So that's our first code in Python. Thanks a lot for being a part of this journey. I look forward to seeing you in the next video where we will be discussing variables. We won't be passing things into print straight away. We will start discussing some technical issues in terms of memory management within the computer. Thanks a lot. I look forward to seeing you later. Bye.